Level 1. The Sarakin Debt. You're 18 years old in Kamagasaki, the district they try to hide from the tourists in Osaka. Your father wasn't a bad man, just a weak one. He gambled away the family's small printing shop on horse races and pachinko. Now, the Sarakin, the unlicensed loan sharks, are at your door every night. They don't just want the money, they want the interest, a mountain of yen that grows faster than you can breathe. Your mother is working 3 jobs, her hands cracked and bleeding from cleaning chemicals, and your younger brother needs tuition for a school he'll never finish. You're sitting in a 24-hour ramen shop at 3 a.m., staring at a bowl of broth you can barely afford. A man in a sharp gray suit sits next to you. He smells of expensive tobacco and expensive choices. He doesn't look at you, but he places a heavy envelope on the counter. Your father's debt is 4 million yen, he says quietly. There is 5 million in here. You look at the envelope, then at him. He stands up to leave. Consider it a gift from an old friend of your family. You take the money, you pay the sharks. You think you're free, but as the sources show, this was never charity, it was a trap. A perfectly set trap you walked into because you had no other way out. 2 weeks later, the man returns. He doesn't want money, he wants your life. He belongs to the Yamaguchi Gumi, the largest Yakuza syndicate in Japan. You're 18 and you've just signed away your future to pay for your father's past. Level 2. The Kumi-in. The Apprentice. Your first year is not about crime, it's about submissiveness. You are a Kumi-in, the lowest rung. Your day starts at 5 a.m. at the Honbu, the office. You clean the toilets until they shine. You polish the shoes of the senior members. You serve tea with a steady hand, bowing so low your forehead nearly touches the floor. You are invisible, much like a bottle in MS-13 or a chestka in the Bratva. You don't ask questions. Asking questions is dangerous. Your job is to watch. You watch who enters the office, you watch how the money is counted, and you watch how respect flows upward through invisible channels. You spend 12 hours a day standing outside a gambling den in Shinjuku. It's freezing in the winter and your feet ache, but you don't move. You're a lookout. If you see a police cruiser, you don't shout. You simply adjust your tie, a coded signal. You make 0 money. You're being tested. They want to see if you have the giri, the sense of obligation, to endure the boredom and the humiliation. If a rival gang member spits on your shoes, you swallow your pride and stay at your post. Because if you react without orders, you're a liability. Level 3. The Shate, the younger brother. 2 years pass. You've proven you aren't a snitch or a coward. You're promoted to Shate. You're no longer cleaning toilets, you're putting in work. You're given a small territory, a few blocks of bars and hostess clubs. Your job is collection. You visit the shop owners. You don't threaten them with a gun. That's too loud, too much attention. You simply sit in their shop and drink tea. You talk about the weather. You talk about their family, but the message is clear. The neighborhood is under our protection. A bar owner refuses to pay. He says the economy is bad. You don't yell. You come back at midnight with 2 others. You don't burn the place down. You just smash the expensive whiskey bottles and leave a single white carnation on the bar. The next morning, he pays double. You start making 200,000 yen a month. It's more than your mother makes in 3 months. And for the first time, you feel powerful. You buy your first tailored suit. You buy a watch. But the risk is real. If you're caught, the organization won't send a lawyer. You do your time, and you keep your mouth shut. That is the code. Level 4. The Sakazuki, the Blood Oath. You're 22. Your Aniki, your big brother, tells you it's time. You're led to a traditional room with tatami mats. An altar sits at the end, guarded by senior members in silk kimonos. This is the Sakazuki ceremony, the cup-sharing ritual that binds you to the family forever. An elderly man, the Kumicho, chairman, sits at the head. He recites the oaths. If you betray the family, you die. If you cooperate with police, your family suffers. Then comes the sake. He pours from his cup into yours. The sake is warm and bitter. The moment you swallow, you are bound for life. There is no resignation, no retirement, no escape clause. Following the ceremony comes the Irezumi, the tattoos. Over the next 6 months, you spend 100 hours under the needle. Traditional hand-poked ink, a dragon winding down your back, a carp leaping up your arm. It's not a fashion statement. It's a map of your endurance. Every puncture is a reminder that your body no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the Kumi. Your heart hammers against your ribs during the long sessions of pain, but you don't flinch. To flinch is to be unworthy. Level 5. The Wakagashira Hosa, the administrator. You're 28. You've survived the street wars and the police raids. You've even spent 18 months in Fuchu prison for a stabbing you didn't commit, but you sat in that cell and never said a word. You've earned your stripes. You're promoted to Wakagashira Hosa, an assistant lieutenant. You're off the streets now. You manage the legitimate businesses. The Yakuza generates billions from construction, real estate, and the stock market. You run a waste management company. On paper, it's clean. but underneath it's a washing machine for dirty money. You take cash from the gambling dens and run it through the construction company's books. Phantom employees, inflated material costs, the register rings up transactions that never happened. You're making 1 million yen a month now. You wear Italian suits. You eat at expensive restaurants in Ginza. You look like a legitimate businessman, a predator in a suit. But the police are building a case. They have surveillance photos and wiretaps. One mistake and you're looking at 15 years in prison. Level 6, the Psycho Komon, the strategist. You're 35, you're smart, and you understand numbers. The Kumicho promotes you to Psycho Komon, a senior advisor and strategist. You're the white paper fan of the organization. You don't handle violence, you handle the future. The old ways are dying. The Japanese government is passing new laws, the Yakuza exclusion ordinances. It's getting harder to move money. Your job is to adapt. You recruit young, tech-savvy kids who grew up with computers instead of cleavers. You move the organization into cybercrime, identity theft, cryptocurrency laundering, and high-frequency trading fraud. It's cleaner than drugs, less violent than extortion, and harder for police to track. Within 2 years, your cyber division generates 5 billion yen annually. You're making 3 million yen a month personally. You own property in Tokyo, offshore accounts in Macau, and a villa in the mountains. Your father is long dead, and your mother thinks you're a successful import-export executive. You saved her life, but you've lost your soul in the process. Level 7, the Wakagashira, the number 2. You're 42. The organization has 5,000 members. You are the Wakagashira, the second in command. You are the regional chief, controlling cities and distribution routes. Your word is law. When you give an order, it's executed without question, but you're also responsible for the failures. When a shipment of meth is seized at the port of Osaka, you have to find out why. Was it bad luck or was it a snitch? You call a meeting with the local bosses. They're sweating before they even sit down. One of them knows something. You don't accuse him. You just explain that failure has consequences. 24 hours later, that boss is found in his home, his pinky finger missing, a final act of yubitsume, and a bullet in his chest. You negotiate with other syndicates now. You meet in private dining rooms where a meal costs 100,000 yen per person. You divide territories to prevent wars because wars attract police attention and hurt profits. You're at the top, but you're not free. You haven't walked a public street without 12 armed bodyguards in 5 years. You live in a compound with 20-foot walls and guard towers. Power for freedom? That's the trade. Level 8, the Kumicho, the chairman. You're 50. The old chairman dies of heart failure, and you are named his successor. You are the Dragonhead, the Kumicho. You control an empire that makes more in a month than most countries' GDP. Politicians, judges, and police commissioners are on your payroll. You are untouchable. Your face isn't on the news. Some people aren't even sure you're real anymore. Myths are harder to kill than men. But the world is changing. The government is no longer looking the other way. The new laws mean that anyone who does business with you can be arrested. You can't get a bank account. You can't rent an apartment. You can't even get a cell phone in your own name. You are a billionaire who can't buy a cup of coffee without a middleman. You watch the news of another raid on your organization. You change the channel. The real question isn't whether the police will stop you. They won't. The question is how long it will take before your own people turn, or before a rival gets lucky. You tell yourself you're smarter than the ones who came before you, Pablo, Carlos, Miguel. But late at night, in the silence of your compound, you wonder, how does this end? Level 9, the Reckoning. It happens on a Tuesday. Not a raid, but a betrayal. Your most trusted lieutenant, the man whose children you helped put through school, has flipped. The police have everything: wiretaps, financial records, and testimony. You're arrested at dawn. 50 officers surround your compound. They cuff you in front of the news cameras. The headline reads, "The Last Dragon Captured." The trial lasts 2 years. You're convicted on 60 counts of organized crime, conspiracy, and murder. The judge sentences you to life without parole. You're sent to a maximum security prison. You sit in a cell 23 hours a day in isolation. Concrete walls, steel door, no windows. You'll die here. There is no bribery that works, no army that can break you out. You sit in the silence and think about that night in the ramen shop 32 years ago. You saved your father's life with blood money, and that decision destroyed yours. You're 52 years old and you have nothing but time and the ghosts of everyone you hurt to get here. This is the Yakuza. Ancient oaths, modern crimes. You climb to the top, but the ladder was always resting on corpses. And as you fade away in your cell, a new 18-year-old kid in Kamigasaki is staring at a bowl of ramen, wondering how he's going to pay his family's debts. A man in a sharp suit sits down next to him. The machine never stops. The cycle continues. Blood in, blood out. The debt is never cleared. Your empire was built on a lie, and your legacy is now just 4 concrete walls. But don't worry, your seat is already filled. The next dragon is scrubbing his first toilet as we speak. Good night, Chairman. In this world, there are only lessons, never legends.